unique opportunity to show students how to make pretty things out of dirt. And you're going to get that chance today too. I'm also going to let you know a few ways that you can incorporate art in your classrooms to make learning more fun, engage the student, and allow a deeper understanding from all types of learners. Let's get started. Have you ever thought to yourself, why do we even have ceramics? Or my personal favorite, it's just ceramics. But the truth is that this and any art class offers students the ability to think outside the box, improve their decision-making skills, increase confidence, and learn how to collaborate as a group in a studio environment. All real-world skills that they'll use when they enter the workforce. Learning how to make choices and decisions will certainly carry over into education and other areas of life, as it's certainly a valuable skill in adulthood. In fact, a report by Americans for the Arts states that young people who participate regularly in the arts are 4 times more likely to be recognized for their academic achievement, to participate in a math or science fair, and win an award for writing an essay or poem than children who do not participate. Some ways that you might incorporate art in your classroom might include having students write a script or a song, a work of art, or even a dance to connect the material on a deeper level. Having students write a PSA, create a poster or brochure, or introducing students to artistic works that match your curriculum are all ways that you can connect your material visually so students can learn in a variety of ways. As a visual learner myself, I sometimes struggled with the lecture-style classroom and traditional paper and pencil assessments. But I excelled in classes where I could show my learning through means like projects, posters, and plays. I encourage you to pick up a handout on the front table, which explores a variety of ways you might be able to include art in your everyday class curriculum to make your lessons more powerful. I'm always here to offer supplies, guidance, and encouragement if you decide to give it a try. Now, for the fun stuff. A few things you need to know about clay in 30 seconds or less. 1, it's messy. 2, it dries. 3, it'll blow up in the kiln if it's too thick, about a ½ inch at the most. And 4, it softens when it gets wet. That's about it. That's all you need to know. Now you're a pro. Today we're going to be making a slab bowl using a sheet of clay, and here are some examples of students' work that have been done in the past. And what's nice about this is it could really act as many things. It could be a little ring dish, you could put your keys in it, you could give it to a loved one for Valentine's Day, and so there's lots of options for a nice little dish that you could use, put on your desk, or give to someone you love. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to trim out your template shape using scissors so that you have your slab bowl shape. A slab of clay is simply a thin sheet of clay, very similar to sugar cookie dough when you bake, and now you have a nice even slab of clay. After you take your slab out of your bag, you could use some of the sponges and some water around the room to clean it up. Both sides, give it a nice smooth surface so that you're working with nice smooth clay. And then you'll simply place your slab bowl shape right on top of your clay. Using a fettling knife and one of the wooden slats around the room, you can cut out your slab bowl shape using the straight edge all the way across to make a nice clean cut. You're going to want to cut this all the way around until you get your square flare bowl shape. You can see here how you'll simply cut it all up. Some of the tools we have to work with today, I've got a bowl of water, a sponge for smoothing, some nice soft clay to put in all the joints. I've got a fork for scoring, a wooden modeling tool to help blend, wet paper towel I use to kind of give a little bit of moisture. And first thing we're going to want to do is just really smooth it out by putting the sponge in some water, squeezing it out, and smoothing out the edges. We're able to really detail it out and get it to the place where we really like the way it looks. Definitely around the edges, around the corners. Take some time to really put that attention to detail. You'll be happy you did later because it's harder to get into all those places once you put your bowl together. Now it's quite simple. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up slowly and very gently, because slabs, if they're too dry, are going to want to crack. If you start to see cracking, put a little bit more moisture into your clay by simply dipping the sponge in water and adding it to the surface. Ultimately, what we're going to plan to do is slip and score each of these walls where they meet. And you could choose if you want to leave the edges exposed, or ultimately if you want to blend it together. It's up to you and how you want to make it look. So the first thing we're going to want to do is score, and quite easily using the fork. I think the fork is the easiest tool to kind of rough up those edges. Both walls are going to want to have some pretty significant score lines, because that's where we're going to want to attach. And I have my slip handy, and we're going to want to add a good amount of slip in there. Don't hold back on that. We're using it like glue. Again, slip is simply clay plus water. And then we're going to simply fold those two walls together. You could see pretty easily it's starting to stick together. This is why it's helpful to have leather hard clay. And we're going to want to do that on the other side. And I like to do two walls at the same time so that gravity doesn't work against me by trying to pull them apart. So we'll add a bit of slip in there. And again, we'll press those two walls together. So you can see it's starting to hold up pretty well already without much effort. But the next thing you're going to want to do is take some soft clay and reinforce those walls where they meet by simply adding a simple soft coil in those edges. You don't have to work too hard at making it perfect. You're simply going to lay it in. I like to just sort of rip it off over the top, and pushing it in using your other hand as leverage, and taking half that coil to the right, up and over, and half that coil to the left. Very simply, you're going to see that you're reinforcing that wall. You're essentially zippering it up together, and you're able to make a nice, clean connection between those two walls. Now on the outside edge, you can see it's a little messy. I like to just use my fingers, kind of pinch it together. And then same thing, you could take another soft little coil, simply press it in, and blend each way. This, again, essentially just zippers those walls up together. Now you could use your fingers, you could use a wooden modeling tool. If you like the way it looks to have a nice 90-degree angle, simply use the side of the modeling tool, and you could see here how you can kind of recarve out that line. The metal rib tool eventually is another good one that if you like the way it looks to be nice and crisp at the edge, simply re-blend that out, and you can see how you can ultimately redefine out that shape. And then once this clay is in there, you can again take the sponge, smooth it out, get those edges nice and smooth, lots of attention to detail. Make sure where you put that coil over the corner, you're blending it all out so it's nice and level. And again, you can create this shape however you like. If you like that kind of rounded edge, simply use your thumb to round it out. If you like it at a 90-degree angle, use some of those tools to kind of carve that shape back out. And so simply you're going to do this in all 4 connections, and by the end you will find yourself with a square flare bowl that you've put together using the slab technique.